Ambassador Kang Tae walked down the endless corridor of the Galactic Council Station. The polished metal floor reflected the bright lights overhead, while enormous windows revealed the stars beyond. Each step echoed softly through the silent hallway. Behind him walked Commander Park and Dr. Choi Woo. Neither spoke. They didn't need to. All three understood what was waiting on the other side of the chamber doors. Their dark blue diplomatic uniforms were spotless, silver stars shining on their shoulders. In their hands were data tablets packed with evidence, legal records, survey reports, and years of documentation. Facts, proof, the truth. But Kang Tae had spent 12 years in galactic politics. He knew something most humans didn't. Facts did not always matter. The towering chamber doors slid open with a low hiss. The sight beyond was breathtaking. Representatives from 47 alien civilizations filled the massive circular hall. Some sat in floating anti-gravity platforms. Others rested inside transparent tanks filled with colored liquid. Several stood on dozens of insect-like legs. A few appeared to be made entirely of energy. All eyes turned toward the human delegation. The room grew quiet. At the center of the chamber sat the High Arbiter. The ancient being looked as though he had been carved from polished stone. His expression was impossible to read. His voice rolled across the chamber like distant thunder. The Council recognizes Ambassador Kang Tae of Earth. The words echoed from wall to wall. You stand accused of aggressive expansion into territories claimed by the Verlian Empire. A holographic map appeared above the Council floor. 3 star systems glowed red. The systems humanity had recently colonized. How does humanity answer these charges? Every eye in the chamber focused on Kang Tae. His pulse quickened, but his face remained calm. He stepped forward. Honored Council. His voice was clear and steady. Humanity rejects these accusations. The hologram shifted. Survey reports appeared in the air, scientific scans, navigation records, official permits. The 3 systems in question were surveyed according to Council regulations. Another image appeared. No intelligent life was found. Another. No government claims were registered. Another. Humanity followed every legal procedure required before settlement. He looked directly at the assembled delegates. We have violated no law. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Then a heavy metallic sound echoed across the room. A Verlian representative rose from his seat. The alien was enormous. His body was covered in thick armor plates that overlapped like the shell of a war machine. Red eyes glowed beneath a horned crest. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding metal. The human lies. A wave of whispers spread through the chamber. Kang Tae felt Commander Park tense behind him. The Verlian pointed a claw toward the hologram. Those systems have belonged to the Verlian Empire for generations. Kang Tae frowned. Then why were no claims registered with the Council? The Verlian's eyes narrowed. Because we had no need to register what was already ours. Murmurs spread through the delegates. The argument was absurd. Everyone knew Council law. If territory was not officially registered, it was considered unclaimed. The Verlian knew it too. Yet he spoke with complete confidence. Kang Tae suddenly understood. This was not a legal dispute. The verdict had already been decided. The trial was simply theater. The High Arbiter raised one stone-like hand. The chamber fell silent. The Verlian Empire has provided historical evidence supporting its claim. A new set of documents appeared above the chamber. Kang Tae stared at them. His stomach tightened. The records had been created only 6 months ago. The dates had been altered. The signatures were forged. The evidence was fake. And everyone in the room knew it. Yet no one objected. No one spoke. No one challenged the obvious fraud. For the first time, Kang Tae felt something colder than anger. Disappointment. Because many of these delegates had smiled at him, shared meals with him, called him friend. Now they sat silently while the truth was buried. The High Arbiter looked down at the human ambassador. Does humanity contest these findings? Kang Tae slowly looked around the chamber. 47 species. 47 governments. Dozens of faces he once trusted. Not one met his eyes. Not one. Finally, he nodded. Yes. The single word echoed through the chamber. The Verlian representative smiled. A predator's smile. Kang Tae continued. Humanity contests every part of these findings. His voice grew stronger. We contest the fabricated documents. We contest the illegal territorial claims. And we contest a process that has already decided its outcome before hearing the evidence. The chamber erupted into shocked whispers. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. No species spoke to the council that way. Not publicly, not ever. The High Arbiter's stone face hardened. Ambassador Kang Tae, be careful. But Kang Tae was finished being careful. For 12 years he had played by their rules. For 12 years humanity had accepted every insult, every delay, every double standard. Now he finally understood. The problem was not what humanity had done. The problem was what humanity had become. Fast. Successful. Independent. Dangerous to those who feared competition. Kang Tae straightened his shoulders. His voice carried through every corner of the chamber. Today is not about 3-star systems. The room fell silent. This is about fear. The Verlian delegate slammed a claw against his podium. Enough. No. Kang Tae's eyes locked onto his. For decades, humanity followed your laws. We traded fairly. We respected borders. We helped your worlds during disasters. And every year you moved the goalposts further away. No one interrupted. No one could. Because the truth is simple. He pointed toward the holographic map. You are not afraid of human aggression. His gaze swept across the chamber. You are afraid of human success. Silence. Absolute silence. For the first time, several delegates looked away. Because deep down, they knew he was right. Those systems fall within our cultural territory. Our ancestors hunted in those stars 3,000 years ago. Tae felt his jaw tighten. Cultural territory was not real territory under council law. Everyone knew this. He turned to the council. I request permission to present our evidence. We have survey data, legal precedents, and denied, the High Arbiter said. The word hung in the air like a heavy stone. Denied, Tae repeated. But council law requires the council has reviewed the situation. The High Arbiter interrupted. We find the human presence in those systems to be problematic. A vote will be held. Dr. Wu leaned close to Tae. This is wrong, he whispered. They're not even looking at our evidence. Commander Hai's hand moved to her weapon, but Tae shook his head slightly. Not here. Not now. The vote happened quickly. Too quickly. One by one, the council members pressed buttons on their desks. Green lights for yes, red lights for no. Tae watched the board. Green lights filled it like stars in the night sky. 43 green for red. The decision is made. The High Arbiter announced humanity will evacuate all 3 systems within 30 days. You will also pay reparations to the Villian Empire for emotional distress. 200 million credits tasted frozen around him. Alien representatives whispered to each other. Some looked uncomfortable. Many looked away from him. The Relian representative smiled, showing sharp teeth. 30 days, 4 million humans lived in those colonies. Families, children, schools, and farms and lives built over 20 years. And reparations for emotional distress. It was an insult, wrapped in legal words. Tae looked around the chamber one more time. He saw the Lumrian representative, Counselor Ixar, someone he had considered a friend. Their eyes met for a moment. Ixar looked sad, but said nothing. This was not about territory. This was a test. The powerful species wanted to see if humanity would bend. They wanted to establish that humans could be pushed around, controlled, dominated, because humanity was young, because humanity was growing strong, and that scared them. Tae collected his data tablet slowly. He nodded to Hei and Wu. Then he turned back to face the council. 200 years ago, humanity joined this council with hope in our hearts. He said quietly, we believed in galactic law. We believed in fairness. We believed in cooperation. He paused. Every eye in the chamber watched him. We were wrong. Gasps echoed through the room. Effective immediately, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We will not pay your false reparations. We will not abandon our people, and we will not return to this table. The High Arbiter stood up. You cannot simply leave. There are procedures, treaties, obligations. We followed your procedures, Ta said. His voice grew stronger. We honored your treaties. We met every obligation, and you used our good faith against us. So now we leave. What happens next is your choice. He turned and walked toward the door. He and Wu followed. Behind them, the council chamber erupted in shouting. Aliens jumped from their seats. The High Arbiter called for order. Te did not look back. The doors closed behind them with a final hiss. In the hallway, Te stopped and took a deep breath. Sir, Commander He said quietly. Do you know what you just did? Te nodded slowly. I just declared war on the entire galaxy. No, sir, Dr. Wu said with a small smile. You just told them that humanity is done being afraid. They walked down the hallway together, leaving the council behind forever. News of humanity's withdrawal spread across the galaxy in hours. On the council station, alien representatives gathered in small groups, whispering and arguing. Most of them seemed amused. A few looked worried. The Verlian ambassador gave an interview to the Galactic News Network. The humans are children throwing a tantrum, he said with a laugh. They will come crawling back within a month, begging to rejoin. Without council protection, they are nothing. Back on Earth in the capital city of New Seoul, President Nam Yuri sat in her office watching the news feeds. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had led Earth through difficult times before, but never anything like this. Her desk screen lit up. Fleet Admiral Li Day appeared, calling from his flagship far above the planet. Madam President, the Council is already broadcasting that we made a mistake. They think we're weak. Let them think that, Yuri said calmly. How long until our fleets can return home? The first wave arrives in 6 days. Full strength in 3 weeks. Good. Prepare the announcement. It's time the galaxy learned the truth. Across the city, in a building with no windows and no signs, Director Bijin sat in a dark room, surrounded by holographic displays. He ran Earth's intelligence network, the eyes and ears that watched everything happening in the galaxy. His team had been working for 200 years, gathering information, learning secrets. Now all that work would finally matter. He opened a secure channel to the president. Ma'am, we've intercepted council communications. The vote was planned 3 months ago. The Varian complaint was just an excuse. Explain. Yuri said the powerful species in the council were worried. In the past 50 years, human technology has advanced faster than any other species. Our ships are better. Our weapons are more efficient. Our AI is smarter. They realized that in another 50 years, we might be stronger than all of them. So they decided to put us in our place. Exactly. They needed to establish dominance before we grew too strong. The 3 colonies were just a convenient excuse. Yuri smiled without humor. They're about to learn that we're already too strong. What the council did not know was simple. For 200 years, humans had followed council law perfectly. Member species could only maintain defensive fleets. Weapons had to meet certain limits. Military expansion was strictly controlled. Humans had obeyed every single rule. But humans were very good at finding loopholes. Council law said nothing about shipyards in places nobody looked. It said nothing about research stations hidden in nebulas where sensors did not work. It said nothing about automated factories on dark planets between the stars. For 200 years, while the Council watched Earth's official fleet and felt satisfied, humanity had been building in the shadows. Director Jin pulled up a star map. Red dots appeared across it. Thousands of them. Each dot represented a hidden human facility. Shipyards, weapons research stations, mining operations, military bases. The Council thinks we have 300 ships, he said. We have 3,000, and they're all better than anything the Council has seen. President Yuri stood and walked to her window. Outside, she could see the lights of the city stretching to the horizon. Millions of people living peaceful lives. They trusted her to keep them safe. Send the signal, she said. Bring them all home. Across the dark spaces between stars, hidden bases received the message. Automated systems came to life. Engines that had been silent for years began to burn. Thousands of ships, sleek and deadly, turned toward Earth. That evening, President Yuri appeared on every screen across human space. Billions of people, on hundreds of worlds, stopped to watch. My fellow humans, she began, Today we withdrew from the Galactic Council. Many of you are afraid. You wonder if we can survive alone. You wonder if the Council will attack us. She paused, letting the fear settle. I am here to tell you that we are not weak, we are not alone, and we are not afraid. Behind her, a video began playing. It showed the hidden shipyards, the massive fleets, the weapons that bent physics in impossible ways, technology that made Council ships look ancient. For 2 centuries, we played by their rules, we bowed to their laws, we accepted their limitations. And while they watched, satisfied that they had tamed us, we were preparing. She leaned forward, looking directly into the camera. Our ancestors survived ice ages and plagues. They built civilizations from nothing. They reached for the stars when everyone said it was impossible. That same strength flows in our blood. The Council thought we were weak because we chose diplomacy. They forgot what we were before we reached for the stars. They forgot that humans are survivors, builders, warriors, when we must be. Now they will remember. The broadcast ended. Across human space, fear turned to pride. People looked up at the stars and smiled. In the Council chamber, alien representatives watched the same broadcast. The laughter died, the smiles faded. Councillor Ixar sat very still, calculating numbers in their head. The High Arbiter's hands shook as he realized the truth. Humanity had not been tamed. They had been patient. And patience, they were about to learn, was not weakness. Warlord Thray stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. Through the viewing window, he watched 300 Varian warships moving through space in perfect formation. Each ship was massive, covered in thick armor, and bristling with plasma cannons. This was the 5th Subjugation Fleet, one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. Threx had commanded it for 30 years. He had conquered 12 worlds. He had never lost a battle. Sir, we're approaching the Aegis system, his navigator said. The human colony should appear on sensors soon. Threx smiled, showing his sharp teeth. The humans had refused to evacuate. Now they would learn why the Velian Empire had ruled this part of the galaxy for 3,000 years. What defensive forces do the humans have? He asked. Scanning now, sir. The navigator's face went pale. Sir, I'm reading 700 ship. 700? Threx laughed. The humans are desperate. They pulled every ship they have. It won't matter. Felian shields are the strongest in the galaxy. Felian weapons have burned 1,000 worlds. These humans will break like Sir. They're forming up, moving to intercept. Threx watched the tactical display. The human ships moved with strange precision, almost like they shared one mind. They were smaller than Valian ships, but there were many of them. No matter numbers meant nothing against Valian power. All ships charge weapons. Prepare to fire on my command. In the human fleet, Captain Song Hyun sat in her command chair aboard the Rising Sun. Her ship was new, fresh from the hidden shipyards. Every system hummed with power around her. The crew worked silently, efficiently. Captain, the Verlians are charging weapons, said Engineering Officer Shin Ren. Good, Hyun said calmly. Let them fire first. Record everything. Ma'am, why let them? Because when this is over, we want the galaxy to see clearly who started the fight. The Velian fleet opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts streaked bright green and red. They slammed into the human ships on the Eternal Glory. Thrax waited for the human ships to explode. That's what always happened. Shields failed. Armor melted. Ships died. But the human ships were still there. Their shields glowed bright blue, absorbing the plasma like water flowing over stone. What? Threx whispered. Fire again. Full power. The Velian fleet fired everything. The space between the fleets became a storm of light and heat. Still the human ships held. Captain Hun, should we return fire? Ren asked. He unchecked her display. The Velian fleet had fired twice. Proof enough. Yes. Show them what we brought. The human fleet fired. From 700 ships, railguns launched tungsten rods. These rods were simple metal, but they moved at 80% the speed of light. When something moves that fast, it hits harder than any explosive. The rods crossed the distance in seconds. They hit Velian shields and passed through like they did not exist. They punched through armor. They tore through ships from front to back. In the first 3 seconds, 50 Velian ships exploded. Evasive maneuvers. Threat screamed. Return fire. All ships. Another wave of railgun fire. Another 60 ships gone. The human ships moved forward. They did not move like normal ships. They spun and danced around fire, their movements too fast, too perfect. Human AI calculated every shot, every movement, working together like a single organism. Then the missiles came. Thousands of small missiles, each with its own brain, each talking to all the others. They swarmed like angry insects. Forian point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. They moved too fast. They worked together. The missiles found their targets. They found weak spots in armor. They hit the same place twice, 3 times, breaking through. More Velian ships exploded. Threx watched his fleet die. In 10 minutes, 200 ships were gone. His proud fleet, his invincible warriors, burning in space. "Retreat!" he shouted. "All ships, retreat!" The surviving Varian ships turned and ran. Their engines burned hot as they fled. Behind them, the human fleet stopped firing. Captain Huon watched the Verilians run. "Maintain position, do not pursue." "Ma'am, we could finish them," Ren said. "No, we let some escape. They need to tell the story." 3 Relian ships made it to the jump point and disappeared. 297 did not. Han opened a communication channel to the fleeing ships. She spoke calmly, clearly. "This message is for your empire and for the council. Humanity is not prey. We are not victims. We are not weak. Tell them what happened here. Tell them what happens when you push humans too far." She closed the channel and sat back around her. The crew was silent. They had just won the fastest, most complete victory in modern galactic history. "Get me a line to Fleet Admiral Day," Hun said. "Tell him the battle is over. 0 human casualties. The Aegis system is secure." On Earth, in the military command center, Admiral Lee Day watched the battle reports come in. Around him, officers stared at their screens in amazement. "Sir," one of them said, "the battle lasted 14 minutes." Day nodded slowly. "Send the battle footage to every news network in the galaxy, and send a message to President Yuri. Tell her Phase 1 is complete." He looked at the star map on the wall. The Aegis system glowed blue, marked as secured. "Now we wait," he said. "Wait for the Council's response." Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, billions of beings watched the footage of the battle. They watched Varian ships, legendary and powerful, die in minutes. They watched human ships move like nothing they had ever seen. In the council chamber, the High Arbiter watched the footage 3 times. His hands would not stop shaking. Counselor Ixar spoke quietly. "We made a terrible mistake. They cannot defeat the entire council," the High Arbiter said, but his voice was not confident. "Can't they?" Shizar asked. "We just watched them destroy alien subjugation fleet in 14 minutes. How long would it take them to destroy us?" The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. Representatives shouted at each other. Some demanded immediate military action. Others begged for peace talks. The Velian ambassador, usually so proud, sat slumped in his chair. The High Arbiter struck his gavel over and over, trying to restore order. Silence. We must destroy them." The Velian roared, suddenly standing. "They humiliated my empire. The council must respond with full force." Counselor Ixar, the Lumerian representative, spoke quietly but clearly. "Perhaps we should ask why this happened. We pushed them. We ignored their evidence. We ruled against them unfairly. Are you defending the humans?" Another representative asked. "I am stating facts. We treated them poorly, and now we face consequences." The Velian ambassador slammed his fist on his desk. "The humans are a threat to galactic order. We must form a coalition and crush them before they grow stronger." Over the next 3 days, 6 other militaristic species joined the Relians. They called themselves the Coalition of Order. Together, they commanded over 8,000 warships. It was the largest military alliance in modern galactic history. The coalition sent an official message to Earth: surrender immediately, or face total war. Ambassador Kang Tae, now back on Earth, recorded a simple response. He sat in a plain room with a simple background. When he spoke, his voice was calm. "You have made your choice. So have we." That was all. 3 sentences. But the way he said them made intelligent beings across the galaxy feel cold. What happened next? No one expected. On the orbital platform above the Verlian homeworld, technicians reported strange system errors. Nothing major at first: communication delays, sensor glitches. Then the main power grid went offline for 3 minutes. When it came back, Every screen on the platform showed the same message. We are watching. Similar incidents began happening across Coalition space. Mining stations reported equipment failures. Trade ships found their navigation systems scrambled. Military bases discovered their defense systems responding to commands they never gave. In the Council's Military Coordination Center, General Han Quan's special operations teams moved like ghosts. They did not wear uniforms. They did not use official ships. They were human, but they could be anyone, anywhere. Quan watched reports flow in from his agents. One team had infiltrated a coalition shipyard. They did not destroy it. They simply modified the construction program so every new ship had a small flaw in its shield emitters. Another team accessed the Council's main communication relay. They planted a quantum virus that would activate on command. When it did, the entire Council network would go silent for exactly 1 hour, just enough to cause panic. "General, all teams are in position," his second officer reported. "Good. Remind them we destroy nothing. We create fear." Tech specialist young Mina worked from a small ship hidden in an asteroid field. Her fingers danced across holographic keyboards as she infiltrated system after system. She was one of Earth's best hackers, and Council security was laughably simple to her. She accessed the personal messages of Coalition commanders. She learned their fears, their doubts. Then she sent them anonymous messages. Simple things. "Your fleet is vulnerable. They know where you sleep. You cannot win." Some commanders ignored the messages. Others started seeing threats everywhere. The psychological operation worked perfectly. Coalition forces began making mistakes. Ships fired on each other by accident. Commanders questioned every order. Paranoia spread like disease. Counselor watched all this happening and finally understood. The humans were not just warriors. They were artists of fear. They did not need to destroy the Coalition. They just needed to make the Coalition destroy itself. XR sent a private message to the High Arbiter. "We need to end this before it's too late." "End it. They're just playing tricks." "No," said sadly. "They're showing us they've already won." 1 month after the Aegis battle, something happened that changed everything. Every screen in the Council chamber, and every Council facility on every Council ship displayed the same video simultaneously. It showed human ships appearing in places they should not be. Near the Varian homeworld, near Coalition shipyards, near the Council station itself. The ships did nothing. They just sat there for 10 seconds, then vanished. The message was clear. Humans could go anywhere anytime, and the Council could not stop them. Ambassador Tay appeared in the video. "This is not a threat. This is a demonstration. We do not wish to destroy you, but we will not allow you to push us anymore." The video ended with a map. It showed every Council military facility, every Coalition base, every strategic target in Council space, all marked in red. Under the map, simple words. "We know where everything is." In his office, the High Arbiter finally admitted the truth to himself. The humans had not been preparing for war with the Council. They had been preparing for something far more terrifying. They had been preparing to make war unnecessary. They could strike anywhere. They could disrupt everything. They had technology the Council did not understand and could not counter. Most importantly, they had patience and discipline. The coalition of order began to crack. 3 species withdrew, citing internal concerns. Their real reason was simple fear. If humanity could appear near their home worlds, their people were already lost. General Quan received new orders from Admiral Day. Begin Phase 2. Show them what happens if they continue. That night, coalition forces across the galaxy woke to find their military infrastructure failing. Not destroyed, not damaged, just offline. Power systems shut down. Weapons would not charge. Communications went silent. Human special operations teams had spent weeks planting devices, modifying systems, creating backdoors. Now they activated everything at once. For 6 hours, coalition military forces were blind and helpless. Then, as suddenly as it stopped, everything came back online. Another message appeared on every screen. This was a demonstration. Next time, we will not turn it back on. In the council chamber, species that had supported the coalition suddenly found reasons to stay neutral. The coalition of order was collapsing, and the war had not even truly begun. Counselor met with other moderate council members in secret. We must negotiate. Humans are showing restraint now, but if we push further, they will stop being gentle. Gentle? one representative asked. They've crippled our military systems. Exactly, Ixar said. They crippled them. They did not destroy them. They did not kill anyone. They are sending a message. We need to listen before that message changes. The coalition of order refused to surrender. Their pride was too great, their fear too deep. If they backed down now, they would look weak. And in galactic politics, looking weak was almost as bad as being weak. So, they prepared their attack. 8,000 ships, divided into 8 massive fleets. Each fleet targeted a different human colony. The plan was simple. Strike everywhere at once. Overwhelm the humans with pure numbers. On the coalition command ship, military leaders studied star maps and felt confident. Yes, humans had wanted Aegis. Yes, humans had strange technology. But 8,000 ships. That was more than any force in modern history. Numbers had to count for something. They were wrong. Admiral Osung commanded Earth's first response fleet from his flagship, Unbreakable. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in 3 wars before joining the military. He understood strategy not just from textbooks, but from surviving impossible situations. Sir, the coalition fleets are moving, his tactical officer reported. 8 fleets, exactly as intelligence predicted. Good, Sun said. They're doing exactly what we expected. Initiate Operation Spear. What the coalition did not understand was simple. Humans did not fight the way they expected. Humans did not defend borders and wait for attack. Humans struck first. Humans struck deep. While the 8 coalition fleets moved toward human colonies, human forces appeared elsewhere. Not at the edges of coalition space. At the heart of it, Dr. Parkana's weapon research teams had spent years developing technologies the Council had banned. Not because these weapons were too deadly to enemies, because they were too dangerous to the Council's power structure. Human ships could jump into systems without using normal jump points. They could appear anywhere instantly. Their weapons could fire through shields. Their missiles could think and adapt. But the most important weapon was not technology. It was strategy. The coalition had 8 fleets heading toward human space. But those fleets took time to travel. During that time, they were not defending their homes. Admiral Sun's forces struck the Verlian homeworld first. Not the cities, not the civilians. The military shipyards in orbit. 12 massive facilities where Valian warships were built. Human ships appeared in orbit, fired precisely, and jumped away before Varian defenses could respond. The shipyards burned. Not destroyed completely, just damaged enough to be useless for years. 0 civilian casualties. The message was clear. Humans could have destroyed cities. They chose not to. The same thing happened across coalition space. 6 military shipyards hit simultaneously. 15 major supply depots emptied of their resources. Military communication relays destroyed with surgical precision. Pilot Quan Su led Shadow Squadron, 20 of Earth's best fighter pilots. Their mission was considered impossible. Destroy a coalition carrier group defending a major military base. Su's fighters were small, fast, and smart. They moved through space like dancers, each one coordinated with the others. The coalition carrier group had 50 large ships with thousands of guns. Shadow Leader, this is Shadow 3, one pilot said over the radio. That's a lot of guns. Yes, it is, Su replied calmly. Good thing they're too slow to hit us. All units, execute Pattern Dragon. The 20 fighters split into 4 groups. They moved too fast for coalition targeting systems. They appeared from strange angles. They fired weapons that bent through space and hit from directions the coalition could not predict. One by one, the coalition ships fell. Their shields failed. Their weapons could not track targets moving that fast. In 30 minutes, the entire carrier group was destroyed. Shadow Squadron lost 0 fighters. The battle recording spread across the galactic network within hours. A single squadron of 20 fighters had destroyed 50 capital ships. It should have been impossible, but there it was, recorded from multiple angles. When the 8 coalition fleets finally realized what was happening, they turned around in panic, but they were too far away. By the time they arrived home, the damage was done. Their military infrastructure was in ruins, not destroyed, neutralized. Human forces had withdrawn before the fleets arrived. Admiral Sun watched the coalition fleets rushing home on his tactical display. They still don't understand. We're not trying to conquer them. We're showing them they can't win. Sir, casualty reports are coming in from all operations, an officer said. How many did we lose? 17 injured, 0 killed, Sun nodded. And coalition casualties? Military only, sir. 0 civilians. Total military losses, approximately 40,000 personnel. Most escaped in rescue pods. Good. Send medical supplies to coalition rescue operations. Make sure they know it came from us. The officer looked confused. Sir, we just destroyed their fleets. Now we help them. Yes, we want them to understand. We can destroy them whenever we want. We choose not to. There's a difference between being unable to show mercy and choosing to show it. On Earth, President Nam Yuri received reports from all operations. Phase 2 was complete. The coalition of order was militarily broken. Their infrastructure was damaged. Their pride was shattered. But more importantly, the galaxy was watching. And what they saw was not human cruelty. They saw human precision, human restraint, human power used carefully, deliberately with control. The coalition could have been annihilated, every ship destroyed, every base burned, but humans chose not to. They took away the coalition's ability to fight, then stopped. Admiral Day, Yuri said over a secure channel, we have proven our point. Begin Phase 3. Phase 3, Madam President. That's the humanitarian operations. Yes, send medical ships to coalition space. Help with rescue operations. Offer food and supplies to damaged stations. Show them what we could be doing instead of fighting. In the council chamber, representatives watched all of this happen in stunned silence. The coalition of order, 8,000 ships strong, had been defeated in 3 days. The humans had struck deep into coalition space, destroyed critical infrastructure, and withdrawn before a true battle even happened. Most terrifying of all, they had shown restraint. They could have killed millions. They killed only those who fought, and now they were sending help. The High Arbiter finally spoke, his voice shaking. We need to contact the humans before this goes further. They won't talk to us. Someone said, we had our chance to talk. We chose to vote against them unfairly. Counselor Ixar stood. Then we find a new way, because if we do not, the humans will not need to destroy us. We will destroy ourselves. The Verlian ambassador sat silent, staring at nothing. His empire's proud fleet was scattered. Their shipyards were burning, and human medical ships were helping his people survive. He finally understood. Humans had not wanted war. They had wanted respect. The council gave them insults instead. Now the galaxy was learning the price of that mistake. 3 months passed since humans left the council. The galaxy was transformed. The coalition of order had collapsed completely. 5 of the 7 coalition species withdrew. Their governments unstable and their militaries broken. The Verlian Empire faced civil war, as different factions fought for control of their weakened government. Most surprising to the council, dozens of smaller species began rebelling against council authority. Species that had been bullied for centuries suddenly found courage. If humans could stand against the council, why couldn't they? The galactic order that had existed for 10,000 years was falling apart. In the council chamber, a meeting was happening. But it was not an official session. The High Arbiter sat at a table with only 5 other beings. All of them were considered the wise, moderate voices of the council. All of them looked tired. We must request negotiations, Counselor said. Pride has cost us enough. The humans won't trust us. Another representative said, why would they? Because they are not cruel, Ixar replied. They prove that. They could have destroyed us. They chose not to. That tells us something important about who they are. The High Arbiter nodded slowly. Send the message. Request formal peace talks, but not here. Not on the council station. Let them choose neutral ground. Ambassador Li Na was younger than Kang Ti, only 40 years old, but she had grown up during humanity's time in the council. She had watched her people be dismissed and disrespected. When President Yuri chose her to lead negotiations, she understood why. The galaxy needed to see that humanity's resolve went beyond one angry old man. She received the council's request in her office on Earth. She read it 3 times, then called President Yuri. They want to talk. Madam President, what do you think? Yuri asked. I think they're desperate. Their power structure is collapsing. Species are leaving the council. They need stability. And what do we need? Neen smiled. We need to build something better than what they had. The negotiations took place on Sanctuary Station, a neutral facility in deep space. Ni arrived with a small delegation. Chairman Yun Day of the Human Sovereignty Assembly came with her. He represented all human colonies, not just Earth. The council sent 12 representatives, including Ixar and the High Arbiter. They sat at a round table. No one at the head, all equal. Na did not waste time. She placed a data tablet on the table. These are humanity's terms. The High Arbiter reached for it, but Na held up her hand. Before you read them, understand something. These are not requests. These are conditions for peace. You can accept them, or you can continue as you are. But your council, as it exists now, is finished. With or without these terms, the old order is dead. She pushed the tablet forward. The High Arbiter read it. His face went pale. These terms would end the council's authority, he said quietly. Yes, Na replied simply. The terms were clear. Full recognition of human sovereignty. No council jurisdiction over non-member species. Disbanding of the council's military enforcement system. Open borders and fair trade. No restrictions on human technology or military development. This is everything said. You would take everything from us. No, Na said. We would take your power to dominate others. That's not everything. That's just the corrupt part. Chairman Yoon leaned forward. But we offer something in return. A new galactic order, not a council of the powerful, a commonwealth of equals. He activated a holographic display. It showed a new structure. Every species had equal representation. Decisions required true majority votes. Military power could only be used defensively or with unanimous approval. We call it the Commonwealth of Free Worlds, Yoon explained. Any species can join. Membership requires only 3 things: respect sovereignty, enforce fair laws, defend the innocent. And who leads this Commonwealth? The High Arbiter asked. No one, Na said. Every species has equal vote, but humanity offers protection. If you join, we guarantee your security. No one will invade you. No one will bully you. We will enforce peace. Why would you do this? Thar asked. Why not simply rule the galaxy? You have the power. En stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars filled the darkness. Because we remember what it feels like to be weak. To have our evidence ignored. To watch the powerful make decisions about our lives without caring what we think. She turned back. We did not fight for power. We fought for respect. Now we want to build a galaxy where every species gets that respect. The council representatives talked among themselves. Some seemed interested, others looked skeptical. What if species refuse to join? One asked. Then they stay independent, Yoon said. We don't force anyone, but they won't have Commonwealth protection either. Over the next 2 weeks, news of the Commonwealth spread across the galaxy. The reaction was immediate. 23 species formally requested membership within the first week. Most of them were smaller civilizations that had been pushed around by council powers for centuries. Captain Lim Ji commanded a humanitarian fleet of 50 ships. Their mission was simple: visit worlds devastated by war, neglect, or natural disaster. Provide food, medicine, and technology. Ask nothing in return. Her fleet arrived at Pelor, a mining world that had been exploited by council corporations for decades. The population was poor, sick, and desperate. Council laws said they could not be helped without paying. Ji's ships landed. Her crews unloaded medical supplies, food synthesizers, and clean water systems. When local leaders asked what payment was required, Ji smiled. Payment? There is no payment. This is what the Commonwealth does. The local leaders wept. Within a day, Pelfor requested Commonwealth membership. Similar scenes happened on dozens of worlds. Human ships brought help where the Council brought rules. They offered partnership where the Council offered control. In the Council chamber, representatives watched this happen with growing fear. Species were leaving. The Council's power was evaporating. We must accept their terms, Ixar said. Or we will be left with nothing. We would be joining a human empire, the High Arbiter protested. No, Ixar corrected. We would be joining something better than what we built. Our council kept peace through fear and control. The Commonwealth offers peace through cooperation. That is not empire. That is evolution. President Yuri gave a speech from Earth broadcast across the galaxy. She stood in a simple garden, not a grand hall. She wore normal clothes, not ceremonial robes. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council maintained order through power. The strong ruled, the weak obeyed. That age is over. The Commonwealth offers a choice: join us as equals, or remain independent with our respect. But we will not allow the old ways to continue. We will not watch the strong exploit the weak. We will not ignore injustice because it's convenient. Some call this the human age. They're wrong. This is the age when strength serves peace, when power defends the weak. When the galaxy finally learned what we tried to teach through diplomacy, we are stronger together than divided. Within 6 months, 89 species joined the Commonwealth. The old Galactic Council dissolved officially, its remaining members joining the new order. The Verlian Empire, finally stable after months of internal fighting, sent a delegation to Earth. They requested membership in the Commonwealth, protection in exchange for following Commonwealth law. Ambassador Tay, now serving as senior advisor, met with them personally. The same beings who had pushed humanity out of the Council now begged for human protection. Tay could have been cruel. He could have reminded them of their arrogance. Instead, he simply said, "Welcome. In the Commonwealth, all species are equal, including yours." 5 years had passed since humanity walked out of the Council chamber. The galaxy was unrecognizable. Fleet Admiral Lee Day stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, the flagship of the Commonwealth fleet. Through the viewing window, he watched ships from 50 different species conducting joint training exercises. Valian cruisers flew alongside human destroyers. Small patrol ships from species he'd never heard of 5 years ago followed his commands. "Admiral, the new recruits are performing well," his tactical officer reported. Day nodded. The Commonwealth military was not human. It was everyone. Every member species contributed ships and personnel. But humans commanded, because humans had proven they could use power responsibly. On Earth, in the same office where she had declared humanity's withdrawal 5 years ago, President Nam Yuri sat with Ambassador Kang Tay. Both of them were older now, more tired, but they smiled. "You should see the reports from the outer colonies," Yuri said. "Trade is up 300%. Technology sharing programs are working. Species that fought for centuries are now partners." Tay sipped his tea and looked out the window. "Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we had stayed in the Council. If we had accepted their terms, we would still be playing by their rules," Yuri replied. "Still accepting that might makes right. Still watching the weak get exploited. Instead, we broke everything and built something better. Yes, though I'm sure many in the Council still hate us for it." "Probably," Tay agreed. "But they're alive to hate us. That's better than the alternative." The Commonwealth Assembly was located on Sanctuary Station, the same place where peace negotiations had happened. The Grand Chamber held representatives from 89 species. Every species had one vote regardless of their size or power. Today, a special session was held. The Varian Empire had formally requested full membership. They had spent 5 years rebuilding their society, adopting Commonwealth laws, and proving their commitment to peace. Ambassador Lee Na, now the Commonwealth's senior diplomat, presented their case. "The Verlian people have worked hard to change. They have opened their borders, freed their subject species, and reformed their government. I recommend we accept them." Some representatives objected. The Verlians had caused so much pain. How could they be trusted? Ambassador Tay requested permission to speak. As senior advisor, he rarely attended assembly sessions. When he did, people listened. 5 years ago, the Varians were our enemies, he said. They pushed us out of the Council. They tried to take our colonies. They forced us to prove our strength. He paused, looking around the chamber. They also taught us something important. They taught us that power without wisdom is dangerous, that strength without mercy is tyranny, that an order built on fear will always collapse. The Verilians are not our friends because we defeated them. They are our friends because we showed them a better way. If we reject them now, we become what the old Council was. Powerful beings deciding who deserves dignity and who doesn't. The vote was taken. 76 in favor, 13 against. The Verlian Empire became full Commonwealth members. In orbit above Earth, construction continued on a massive new project. The Unity Gate, a permanent jump point that would connect distant parts of Commonwealth space. Human engineers worked alongside alien specialists. Technology from dozens of species combined to create something none of them could have built alone. Engineering Director Yang Mina supervised the project. She was the same person who had hacked coalition systems 5 years ago. Now she used her skills to build instead of disrupt. "Director, the Polaran delegation wants to contribute their shield technology," an assistant said. "Accept it," Mina replied. And make sure their engineers get proper credit. This isn't a human project. It's a Commonwealth project. On a distant colony world called Hope's Landing, children from 7 different species attended school together. Human children sat next to Velian children. They learned each other's languages. They played together during breaks. One human child asked her Varian classmate, "My grandmother says your people tried to hurt us. Is that true?" The young Velian looked sad. "Yes, my people made big mistakes, but your people showed us how to be better. So we're friends now." "Yes, we're friends now." Their teacher, Aluman, watched this exchange and felt hope for the future. Back aboard the Indomitable, Admiral Day received a report about unrest on the galaxy's edge. 3 independent species were fighting over resources. None of them were Commonwealth members. His aide asked, "Sir, should we intervene?" Day thought carefully. "Send a diplomatic team first. Offer mediation. If they reject it, we respect their choice. We don't force peace. We offer it. And if they continue fighting, then we protect the innocent. We evacuate civilians. We provide humanitarian aid. We show them there's a better way." "But sir, what if they don't listen? What if they refuse help?" Day smiled slightly. "Then we wait. Eventually, they'll see what the Commonwealth has built. They'll see species working together instead of fighting. They'll want to join. Not because we forced them, because they chose to." That evening, President Yuri gave her final State of the Commonwealth address. She was retiring after 5 years. Her work was complete. "When I took office, the galaxy was divided. The powerful controlled the weak. Justice was a luxury few could afford. Today, that galaxy is gone. The Commonwealth is not perfect. We still have problems. Species still disagree. But we solve these problems together as equals." Some historians call this the human age. They're wrong. This is not about humans. This is about choice. Every species in the Commonwealth chose to be here. They chose cooperation over conflict. They chose to build instead of destroy. 5 years ago, we walked away from a table where we were not heard. We did not do this out of anger. We did this out of hope. Hope that something better was possible. Today I can say with confidence it was. She stepped down from the podium. The assembly erupted in applause. Not just humans, everyone. In his quarters, Ambassador Tay watched the speech with tears in his eyes. He thought about that day 5 years ago, walking out of the council chamber, not knowing if humanity would survive, wondering if he had just doomed his species. Now he knew the truth. He had not doomed humanity. He had freed them. And in freeing humanity, he had helped free the galaxy. A message appeared on his screen. It was from a young diplomat on a distant world. "Ambassador Tay, I wanted to thank you. Because of what you did, my species is free. We have hope. We have dignity. You showed the galaxy that power should serve peace, not the other way around." Ta smiled and closed the message. He did not need thanks. Seeing the results was enough. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Day looked at the star map. Commonwealth space glowed blue, covering 60% of the galaxy. The remaining 40% was independent species, some friendly, some neutral, some still hostile. His aide asked, "Sir, what if more species challenge us? What if they test our strength?" Day turned from the map. "Then we'll do what we've always done. Give them a choice. Sit at the table as equals, or discover why the galaxy watches in fear. But they won't refuse. Not anymore. Why not? Because they finally understand the truth, sir." "What truth?" The aide smiled. "That humanity doesn't need to conquer the galaxy. We just needed to stop letting the galaxy push us around." Day nodded approvingly. "Exactly right." Throughout the galaxy on 1,000 worlds, beings looked up at the stars and felt something they had not felt in centuries. Safety, hope, the promise that tomorrow would be better than today. The Commonwealth flag flew on stations and ships across the galaxy. A circle of stars, all equal size, all connected. At the center, written in 100 languages, a simple phrase, "We stand together." Ambassador Tay stood at his window on Earth, looking up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, ships flew in peace. Species worked together. Children of different worlds played together. He had walked out of that council chamber 5 years ago, not knowing what would happen. Now he knew. The galaxy had watched in fear as humans abandoned the table, but what they saw next changed everything. They saw humans build a better table, one where everyone had a seat, one where everyone had a voice, and slowly, carefully, species across the galaxy chose to sit down at that new table. Not because they were forced, because they were invited. That Tay thought was the difference between conquest and leadership, between tyranny and freedom. The galaxy had tested humanity's strength. Humanity had proven it. But more importantly, humanity had proven something else. That strength without wisdom was meaningless. That power without mercy was cruelty. That the strongest civilization was not the one that conquered others, but the one that lifted them up. As Tai watched the stars, he smiled. The galaxy was still learning that lesson, but they were learning, and that was enough.